My idea of entertainment is to go to the movies, and I would rather go to the movies and watch a scary movie. To me, the worst scary movie is better than the not really great dramas, you know, because scary movies are just fun. And so I've always really liked them, and I'm fascinated by the idea of some of the gore and stuff that people can come up with and string it together in a really entertaining plot that you know, just doesn't seem to work for any other genre. I had a character in mind from a long time ago, actually based on a story that my middle son Jake wrote. He had written a story for one of his classes, and it fascinated me. One line in his story fascinated me, and it was based on a guy who was a paladin for God, and he killed all these evil people, and the cops walked in, and then he killed himself at the end, and the police walked in, and they said, what was he thinking? And the other cop said, God only knows. And this entire series that I'm doing is kind of based on that, because she's a paladin for God, and so she kind of does God's work for what we as humans can't do, because we're very limited in what we're allowed to do, regardless of how evil we know someone might be. And also in the fact that when she looks at someone, they might look like a friendly grandpa or a nice housewife, but she sees the evil that they really are. All of us, especially mothers who have children, look around in society and we get so frustrated by things that happen and how your children are put at risk, how we're put at risk, because the law can only do so much, you know. And even when you catch someone who's truly evil, you don't really know what to do with them. You know, do you lock them up for life? Do you you know, put them to the death, and then the government tells us how much it costs? And I don't know anyone who hasn't thought, wouldn't it be great if you could just look at someone and know that they were bad? And of course you can't. So, you know, I had thought about her for a long time, maybe even subconsciously thinking, wouldn't it be nice if there was just anyone who really knew evil when they saw it? Now, unfortunately, there's only one of her, so she's not all over the world helping. She's just in this one spot. But, you know, it's just a vision of what would be nice if, you know, if, and I don't mean to be biblical, but if God gave a lending hand and said, okay, that's really evil, go get that, you know, and it would just make life much easier for all the people who are not evil. It hurts her when God is wanting her to go take care of something and she tries to resist. She doesn't really like doing this. She doesn't like being this freak of nature. She would rather just be normal like everyone else. She was born when her mother was struck by lightning, and the mother died. She was born. She's lived her entire life in foster care, being this very odd person and not understanding what any of this meant until older in life she met a priest who kind of put it together through confessions that he'd heard, that her reactions to certain people was this inbred knowledge of who and what they really were. She's a very gritty, kick-ass person, could lay you low really quick, and who does she run up against but Luther Cross, with a golden aura around him. He's a great detective and doesn't really have an evil bone in his body, but he's a very powerful, strong person who likes to see right done, but he likes to see it done through the law. So Luther recognizes her as a special person, but he also suspects her of things. But it's not like my romance novels where at the end they're in love and they're married and they're having wonderful sex. It's not that way, because she's too much of an aberration of society. So I can wrap up the plot, which can be pretty gory, but then there's also this romance thread that's running, and at the end of the book you see that they're closer, and at least for me, I was very anxious to write the next one to see how much closer they would get. And so you know, it'll culminate, and at the end of the series, which will either be 4, 5, 6 books, like I say, I'm never quite sure, but at the end of the series then they will be together, so people will get their happy ending with the romance. It's just her journey to becoming a more normal human being, and kind of she'll pass on her legacy to some other poor schmuck. I don't know. Maybe, unless I change my mind about that, I don't know.